Well, joining us now is a lawyer and political analyst, Fred Nzako. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning, Fred. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
So what do you think about this non-interference policy from President Buhari? A lot of people have actually criticized that stance of his not to interfere until things go bad, and then he wants to interfere, and it's too little, too late. Is that likely to happen in this case? President
Buhari is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is not the president of All Progressives Congress. Neither is he the president of his state or his region, the northern Nigeria. He is the president of Nigeria, and the euphemism is the father of all Nigerians. And then whatever that is happening in APC is a party affair. And then I think it should not be the president's matter. It should be the matter for the party hierarchy. The party has its executive, it has its national working committee. It even has a national leader that has been appointed, so to speak, to reconcile all aggrieved parties. So why would Mr. President be dragged into it? The job and duty of the leadership of this country at that level demands that he needs to have time for Nigeria and very little or less time for the party, because the party has the machinery to reconcile itself. So I stand with Mr. President on this. But let me quickly even ask, what is even happening to the group of people that are called nPDP? What is happening to them? What is this?
They say they are being marginalized.
What is the marginalization that they are crying about? They are gradually beginning to carve an impression of selfish, greedy politicians whose movement, which we call political jumpology, is crafted on greed and avarice and not on the interests and welfare of the people. It has precedence. They left the nPDP not because of the welfare of the people or because of the impunity that was prevalent in the party or the sinking ship as it was described. They jumped out because they felt the same marginalized. Now they went into APC. And then the argument is that a lot of them have been very well taken care of with a lot of juicy positions and appointment. Yet, like the Oliver Twist, they will always ask for more. And now they want to jump again. Again, not for the welfare of Nigerians. If they are jumping or they are threatening to jump because of the failure of APC to discharge its promises to Nigerian people, in that case they are bringing the Nigerian people to the table, then we will say it is all right. But everything that the nPDP does is selfish.
All right. Now, in this case, one would say, or would you say, or can we deduce the fact that maybe they've made up their mind to leave in the first place, but they need an excuse. It's okay, they didn't listen to us. Because the point there is, one of them is the Senate president.
Yes.
That's number 3 seat in the country.
Yes.
The other is a speaker of House of Assembly. The other is a senator. The other has a son as a senator, and so on. The list goes on.
Including the Minister of Transport,
Exactly.
although he's not part of the push, but he's also a beneficiary of the movement from the.
Would it be that there has been a conclusion to move in the first place, but we need an excuse?
It is possible because they have created an impression that they were part of the rot of PDP. And when the ship was about to sink, they smartly jumped out into APC. Now, there are hues and cries all over the nation that the APC as a political party has failed Nigerians in discharging those promises. And now again, they want to jump. So what it now means, they don't want to sit down to work for Nigeria. They only want to work for themselves. So it is possible that they want to jump.
So are you
but
saying
whether they will succeed in this time around or not, only time will tell.
In other words, the problem of the APC, if I get you correctly, is actually the nPDP. Is that what you're saying? I mean, the nPDP has said, look, we played a major role in the emergence of President Buhari in 2015, and they went on to list everything they did in bringing that about. Is this likely to backfire in the face of the APC that has said that, look, we're going to meet this nPDP halfway. We're going to look at their grievances. Their grievances are genuine. And then they set up this meeting or talks with the vice president leading?
The APC has only set up that talk, from my own understanding, essentially because they felt that in party politics, everybody is important. But the nPDP, I don't even know why they still use that tag, PDP, I mean, inside the APC. That means that fusion in APC has not really happened.
Because we're not hearing of
I mean, we're not hearing of nPP or APC or CPC. Each time we hear of nPDP, why have even PDP allowed them to continue to bastardize its name inside the APC? Is either they are in APC or they are in PDP or they are elsewhere. But back to what you asked. The governance does not start and end with making of a president. The making of a president is only a process of institutionalizing governance. And then the rest of the hog, what contribution, they should beat their chest and say, we have contributed so and so in the betterment of Nigeria. They say they are marginalized. Who is not marginalized in Nigeria? Is it the youth that finished school and has no job? Is it the market woman that will toil morning to night and will find it difficult to pay school fees of her children? Is it even the worker that is underemployed? So, is it the artisan and the ordinary businessman in the informal sector that does not even have energy, light to work? Who is not marginalized?
Well, they also allege victimization and witch hunt and what have you.
Part of their demand is as funny as saying that they were not allowed, we were not given security cover to visit their constituencies. Have you heard that? That they were not given adequate security cover to visit their constituencies. The same constituencies that voted a lot of them into power, you now need security cover to visit them.
Your own people.
And then your own people. And then if the president or the federal government fails to provide security cover for you to visit your own people, it becomes a sin. I think their self-aggrandizement is getting to a choking level. And then they should not continue to carve this image of blackmailers, because that is political blackmailers whose political ideologies are not based on the interest or welfare of the people, but based on self-aggrandizement.
All right, but if we look at these issues critically, one way or the other, one cannot totally wish away the impact or the influence of the nPDP, as they are called, as the case may be.
Yes.
Are we looking, going forward, because this is a political year, are we looking forward to a massive defection from the APC that can deal a blow?
The only unfortunate thing, my brother, is the level of ignorance and low level of education among the electorates. If not, if we operated in an enlightened environment where the electorates know their left from their right, where you cannot just come and say you are a major stakeholder or you're a leader and then you lead them by the nose, you now ask yourself, what is the political value of these people when they, in effect, each person has one vote? But because, yes, a lot of them have amassed quite some wealth, and then they will very easily sway the electorate. That is why they have political relevance. And that is why the party is asking them not to go. And then the party will continue to try to reconcile. Always try to reconcile. Because, like I earlier said, everybody is useful in a political democracy. And you don't allow anybody who feels or who pretends to feel or who claims to be aggrieved to just go that way. It was the ill luck of PDP in 2013, and then that snowballed to loss of a presidential election in 2015, and then the party has not survived up till now. But I keep maintaining and I keep insisting that Nigerian people who go out en masse to vote for their leaders deserve better than what they are getting. A situation where the leaders themselves continue to cry marginalization over and against the interests of the people is anathema to political development in a country like Nigeria.
Indeed. So what do you think will be the outcome of the upcoming APC National Convention when and if it eventually happens? This crisis.
Yes.
Is it likely to affect the fortunes of the party going forward, especially come 2019?
No, whatever.
If it's not fixed.
Whatever answer that I give to that
Yeah.
is in the realm of the conjecture, because the report said that Mr. President said he was not going to sit down with them and then ask the party hierarchy and the governors who are leaders of the parties and
To
their
handle
states
it.
to handle it. And I earlier said that I stand with him on that.
If
But
they're
if
not,
they
if they're
insist,
not able to handle
if
it,
they are
what
not able
then?
to, Mr. Vice President,
Because
is already,
would you say that the APC is grounded
the
enough?
rapprochement
Let
of-
me land with
Yes,
this. Would you
yes.
say that the APC is actually grounded enough for it not to matter if the nPDP or whatever they call the group leaves the party?
APC cannot afford not to try to bring them back.
Okay.
But any effort made by APC to bring them back that fails, what would they do? Like Mike earlier asked, they have made up their mind to jump out of this same APC, who Nigerians are accusing that have failed Nigeria in fulfilling the promises given to the people. So what it now means is that each time government failed, instead of them to sit down and look at why has government failed, why have we failed in delivering the dividends of democracy, what is happening and where is the interest of the and welfare of the people, instead of them to sit down and look into that, they will raise one allegation and jump out of the ship. They were there since 2015. They didn't complain. Now election is coming. They are complaining that they are being marginalized. Is it Fred and Zako that's not marginalized?
Or is it Michael Kwache?
So who's not marginalized?
I'm not marginalized. Oh my.
All right.
Is this a reflection of where our democracy is right now?
No, it is a clear reflection of where our democracy is. Democracy of selfishness. Democracy of greed. Democracy of me, myself, and I.
But one thing there is, since independence, because when we sit down to read our political history from the days of even Herbert Macaulay, and then the constitutional development from one year to the other, and then independence, and we hear the names of Azikiwe and Awolowo and the others, Ahmadu Bello, and so on. There are elements of the fact that, okay, this person was selfish, the other person was selfish, that was why they couldn't come together, there was suspicion and all of that. And it is the same way we're running until now. But one way or the other, one would say that knowledge has now increased, where young people have access to information, they have access to travel the world and know how things should work. But
Definitely.
our political culture, is it really developing? Are we building this thing at all?
Our political culture is not developing in the direction we expect it to develop, because the first element of development of political culture is political ideology, which drives the system. If there is no political ideology, you cannot claim that the culture is developing positively. If development is negative development in terms of looting, in terms of amassment of wealth, in terms of selfish interest, you cannot say the politics is developing. And that is why, even as we speak, there is no single political party in Nigeria that can beat its chest and say, this is what we believe in.
This is what we stand for.
This is what we stand for. Forget the manifesto and forget all those things said on the soapbox, where these days you go to political campaign rallies, you hear nothing other than music and dance, and then rhetorics that really you cannot hold down the person who made those promises when the time comes. And then even those ones written down in the party manifesto has proven to be just a mere wish to attract the people's vote. We want a political culture that will be sustainable, that will be built on ideology, so that people will now say, this is what I believe in.
How do we achieve that? How does the electorate that you pointed out earlier own the whole, not just the process, but the end game?
The best way to do that is to educate the people. It's to educate the people. Not just educating them on knowing the logos of the parties, which of course
Which
now,
seems to be the,
which seems to be a very big challenge now.
Exactly.
In a situation where I think there are almost 80 now, there was 67, and the more are still counting. How do you now know which party that is which? Even INEC is having confusion because sometimes there are overlap of the logo and slogan.
Exactly.
And we now ask ourselves, what is wrong with your system? What are we doing with multiplicity of parties? Yes, I agree. There was a Supreme Court rule that says, judgment that says, allow the people to freely associate, because it's a fundamental inclusion in our constitution. But wouldn't there be an exception to such rule? Wouldn't there be a number? Why would we be running with dozens and dozens of political parties,
because
to the extent that the people themselves get more confused?
Yes, because at the end of the day, what is the distinction or the peculiarity or uniqueness
Between
of one
one
party
party
and
and
the
another.
other?
It
What
is
is there
blood.
that you don't have?
The whole thing is blood. And that is why it is difficult to have an ideology and say this is what this party believes in. In the times past, like you said, Mike, there was ideology.
Yes.
At least up till
the Second Republic.
Up till the Second Republic.
Yeah.
You will now say that
You
this
had
party,
the NPN, GNPP,
UPN, PRP,
Yeah.
and the
Yes.
rest.
Exactly.
And MPP. You will say that this party believed in this. And then even in their actions and programs and policies of government, they will try to live what they believe.
Yeah.
They will try to act what they believe. But these days, you don't see any of such things. APC came out and then with a mantra of change and said they believed in this and this. How much of such have they implemented? PDP has become so bastardized that it is difficult for even the party to...
And now the third force is coming.
And now the third force is coming. What does the third force believe in? The only party that seems to believe on something is a political party that believes on restructuring. But it's only when the time comes that you now know whether it is only a mantra to grab votes,
Yes,
or whether they really mean it to restructure Nigeria. Because
the point.
we all know that that is the only solution
Yeah.
to a myriad of problems.
It's all right. We have to leave you here now. Fred Nziako, policy analyst and lawyer, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Always a
so much.
delight.
Many thanks.
Right.